Here we go, the first big release of 2023 that wasn't on anyone's radar till last week. Grid Legends. Codemasters' 5th installment of its beautiful racing series has now exclusively come to the Meta Quest 2 and the Quest Pro. And this is a pretty big deal considering it is in fact a PS5 and Xbox Series X game converted not only into VR but on a standalone VR headset, which currently has no real racing games to compete with. We have kart races but no real racing games. So how does Grid Legends translate into VR? Have we got the full game? And what sacrifices had to be made to bring such a stunning game to the Quest 2? All of those questions are answered and more in today's review of Grid Legends VR for the Meta Quest 2. I also want to say a big thank you to EA and Codemasters for providing me with a review code, and since I didn't pay for the game, I will buy a copy and I'll give it away to my patrons and channel members right now. If you find this video useful, please leave a like, and if you're looking for more VR content, consider subscribing as I have lots more VR to show you. Let's get into it. Grid Legends is a narrative-focused racing game that puts you in the overalls of a mysterious driver known only as 22, an up-and-coming racer who's appointed at the last minute to join Seneca Racing and a struggling racing team whose owner Marcus Ado is at his wit's end due to the loss of his number 2 racer. From this point, you'll take part in multiple race types like touring, GT, elimination, point-to-point, time attack, head-to-head, and more. There's also a race creator for custom events which you can race with AI and online, but I can't actually test that at the moment because there is no one online. You'll also have grid challenges, sponsorships, and the ability to spend your cash on upgrading your team, and XP to unlock cars, paint jobs, and more. I liked all of these, and I can already tell there is a lot of content here to keep you busy for many hours. The story itself will only take around 4 to 5 hours, I reckon, as it's only 35 events with cutscenes included, and I must admit the acting wasn't too bad. Overall, I found the campaign particularly enjoyable. But now I have to bring up some negatives, and the biggest one of them all is the graphics. In all honesty, my jaw physically dropped in shock in my first race. This is unfortunately a very bad looking game. The jaggies are very severe, they're screen tearing, textures can be low to missing, the car models are okay, and I could actually go on about the number of things I spotted in the game, but ultimately the worst thing was, it didn't matter how long I played it for, it remained ugly. But, and I'm so pleased there is a but, the game itself is truly solid. The driving is spot on, powering in and out of corners, drifting, it all feels really good. The cars have weight, they all feel individual, and you have a full grid of cars as well, which I think is pretty impressive for the Quest. So while I could never get used to the bad graphics, I still very much enjoyed my time in the game. The cars sound really good, giving you that excitement of keeping your foot on the pedal, or finger to the trigger in our case, but there's no spatial audio. I could hear cars seemingly near me, but when I turned to check, there was no one there. Also, that's when I realised the spatial audio was off and I couldn't actually turn it on in the options. So for example, in the game there is no mirrors and you can't turn the camera to look behind you. I had to physically face backwards, and that's when I realised it still sounded like I was going forwards. And also that brings me on to the fact you can't change the camera in the game. You are literally fixed in first person, you cannot go to third person, and this led to me not even knowing what car I was driving sometimes. If you're in a mixed pack, you have to try and guess from the interior and the shape of the headlights. When the weather looked particularly overcast, it sounded like there was rain hitting the car, but there is no weather in this game. And also make sure you change the default brightness settings, because if you leave it as it is on 50%, the cars literally just look like black interiors a lot of the time. At least put it up to 65%, it definitely helped the look of the game. The roads look really good, the cities look okay too, but it's clear to me the unfortunate price of bringing a good racing game to the Quest is visibly high. Overall, I've had a really good time with Grid Legends, but if you're already interested in a racing game on the Quest, there is nothing better than this. This game really does feel like a great racing game if you can ignore the visuals. Personally, I really look forward to joining some races online when the servers open up, and if you do get this game, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, remember to leave a like, subscribe for more VR content, and I'll see you on the next video.